Welcome to the Kings Road podcast. I'm your host, Justin Younts, and I'm here with my host.
CDCent, what's up?
And we are going to be talking about some of the news that just broke about Bray Wyatt. We're going to talk about the John Moxley interview with Dave Meltzer, and we're going to talk about Rampage. So enjoy. And here we go. Bray Wyatt is free. He can do whatever he wants now. He's not beholden to WWE for anything. And it looks like he wants to be in horror movies or do something in that world of movies. What do you think about that?
I mean, I saw the images of him being in the Warner Brothers lot. I think it's interesting is Warner Brothers, who has a
Yeah.
deal with AEW. So, I mean, obviously that's a link.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. Yeah.
I
Well,
like,
it also says he has flat out rejected the Impact offer. So,
man, look, bro, I'm sorry, but if you care about your career, why the
you do
fuck
not
would you
go
sign to TNA?
to
Really? Like, why would you do that to yourself? Do you even care about your career? Look
Exactly.
at Kurt Angle. There was at one point where he was like mentioned in the breath with like Shawn Michaels and Chris Benoit before Chris Benoit became a murderer, and
Yeah.
and and Bret Hart, and then he went to TNA, and
Yeah.
it was like he stopped wrestling.
He basically broke. Yeah. He basically, he basically with Angle, he said that like he left TNA as soon as the money was drying up. You know, so you're right. I mean, it was such a step down Angle, but at the time it was
No,
meant as a big deal. But no, I don't ever want to see
look,
Wyatt.
I beg to differ. I feel after the Kurt Angle Samoa Joe thing, after the first
Yeah.
2 months, I was over it. After
Yeah,
two
they
months,
didn't
I
know
was
what else
over
to do with him.
it.
And then
Literally,
they had him
he
in
should have
goofy
left.
comedy.
He should have left the second he beat Samoa Joe the second time, and take a year off and go back to WWE. And his legacy would be
The,
cemented way
well, the
better than it
problem
is.
was two things happened. At that time when he came in, they hired Vince Russo back, and he had no idea what to do with this super wrestler.
Bro, bro,
And they just what?
bro.
No?
Vince Russo is not that bad. I will not stand for the Vince Russo
All
slander.
right. He's the one who put Angle in comedy skits after that thing, and he brought in his wife, which was stupid. I did not like it when Angle brought in his wife. It made him into a gimmick.
I mean,
It
in
just
his
all right.
defense, didn't he
Let's not
put
talk
Mick
about TNA.
Foley
Who
in
gives?
comedy angles? And I'm pretty positive people at the time were like, "Are you gonna really put Mick Foley in comedy?" And they thought it was stupid, and then it ended up working out perfectly.
Okay, but then they did comedy angles in TNA with Mick Foley, where he was the champion
Cause
and he
it's
was driving
TNA.
around
Everything in
in a
TNA.
shitty
The simple
car.
fact that you're in TNA, it changes the dynamic completely.
They
You
put
know,
their
you
world
could take
title. He's the
Stone
one.
Cold Steve Austin and put him in TNA, and it would be like he went to become stunning Steve Austin again. That's what TNA does. It
It
turns
really is.
greatness
All
and
right.
turns it into
Enough about TNA.
shit.
Who gives a shit about TNA? Apparently, though, some people are now letting out news about how Bray Wyatt was to work with, and they're saying that if you were running $1 million company and you were getting paid all this money, and then they said this, and you were flagged for a medical reason, you wouldn't be acting like this and expect to keep your job. So I don't know. Maybe he did have a medical reason, and they never let that out. Whatever it was, but it's an interesting dynamic because I mean, we talked about it. Top stars want some level of control with their work. They're
Here's,
not just
here's
going to go out there and say, "Oh,
listen
whatever,
to
I'll just read script."
listen to the language used and what you just said. It seems like whoever said that was probably a jobber, right? who was
Yeah.
never a main event guy and was mad that a main event guy is complaining about
Let's
his
let's be
position not
honest.
being
It's
good
probably
enough.
Bruce Pritchard.
Look, this is a pattern, right?
Yeah.
Anytime a
Moxley?
top guy uh questions anything creative does for them or questions the company in any way, they're difficult. It happened with Punk. It happened with Bret Hart back in the 90s. People used to say Bret Hart was difficult all the time. You know, Sean, but I mean, Sean was actually difficult. uh, Austin, they used to say
Yeah.
Austin was difficult all the time, right?
Yeah. But
CM
that's because he
Punk,
cared.
difficult. Moxley, difficult. And then they go to AEW, and you don't hear a peep about them being difficult. You know why? Because the the booker actually talks to them, has a conversation, and it's a back and forth conversation of what they're gonna do. The problem with WWE is they talk to you, at you, says you're gonna do this, and if you say anything but yes, sir, you're being difficult.
Yeah. And then after, if you do disobey them, they continue to remind you like 6 or 8 times till you want to kill yourself. I mean, they really are that. I mean, look,
Remember
you
to
got a
make
glimpse
Reigns
of
look
that.
strong.
Exactly. That, and they said that to him probably 20 times. And it's just like, I love what Punk says. He's just like, no, I'm gonna just beat him and I'm gonna make him look really bad. And then he said, you know what would really make him look strong? If he won. And they're like, yeah, but Vince wants you to go over.
Yeah, I
Like,
just
what the?
don't get it. I
It's so
really don't get it.
stupid.
They're
It's
so
like he's
dumb.
offering to put over Reigns, and they're like, no, 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 we don't want that.
That's not what we
We want him
want.
to look
We
strong.
like you. Who told you we don't like you? We like you. We want you to win. But we like this guy
That's what he
too.
told them. Like he wanted he wanted that day off for a wedding. And they're like, oh, well, we still need you or whatever. He's like, okay, I'm wrestling first on the show and you're chartering a jet to the place. I mean, one hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with WWE is it's just a lack of direction.
How is one hand supposed to know what the other hand is doing when the hand itself doesn't know what it's doing?
When the hand changes his mind 15 times.
Like, how is somebody supposed to know shit in that way?
Well, we've got this book, but Vince just threw out the script, so
I
we're not
don't
doing
buy
that feud.
the whole narrative that Bray Wyatt is difficult.
No, I don't either. No, no one. Everyone liked him. Even Seth Rollins says he was sad when Bray Wyatt left, and he's like the biggest, do
And
whatever
he always
WWE
had a
says
reputation
guy.
as a locker room leader, and now all of a sudden he wasn't.
Yeah,
That makes
yeah.
no sense. Whatever.
It's just because he probably was like, Vince, this doesn't make sense, and this is stupid. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh my God, you're being difficult. I mean, I mentioned this before, but I mean, Drew McIntyre got in trouble because he asked too many questions. I'm
Hmm.
like, how do you get in trouble for that? That shows he
That's
cares.
insulting. How dare you ask me a
How dare
question?
you ask questions? Zoe Saladana would like never work in WWE because that's all Batista said she would do on Marvel sets is be like, she asked like a million questions. She worked for Vince, he'd be like, I can't take it. That's too many questions. Just do what I say. Oh man. I don't know. I'm just glad he's free and clear. When do you think we see him in AEW?
Full gear.
You think it's full gear?
Yeah.
How would you have him come out on full gear?
I have no idea. I won't say shit. I'll
I
just see
would
it
I
when
wouldn't
the
have him
match
come
is.
out as we said with the Hangman Page if he wins the title. Just get him
I mean, I
killed.
definitely think, look, if I was doing it,
Yeah.
it would be after the match
Yeah.
and set him up immediately as the next number one contender. That's what I
For
would do.
for for um for
Yeah,
for what's his name? Hangman?
whoever it is. Maybe not in a TV match, but you set it up there and then you
Yeah.
could start working that angle for February. You know,
Yeah. Do you think he's really going to go by Wyndham?
I hope not, but
Or do you think he's going to have like 3 different characters and be like, this is Wyndham, this is
I would
Fiend
like
2,
that.
and
Hey, man, if anybody could get it over, it would be him.
yeah, he really could.
Yeah.
It's really, I don't know. All right, so that's really all I got to say about that. You got anything else to say?
No. Next.
All right, so let us talk about the Moxley interview with Dave Meltzer. You listened to it.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
It was great. His
I
interviews
did
are
see the
so
very
weird.
beginning of it. I
His
did hear the
interviews
very
are
beginning where he was just like, I could tell you how I really feel, but I mean, I could just tell you everything's going great, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Everything fucking sucks right now. I love that about him. He doesn't come into an interview with like bullshit, like you could see him on like like he'd be like the Tonight Show. He's like, well, I could tell you that this movie's really good, but let me tell you, I think it sucks, and I think this show sucks. Like I can see Moxley doing that. Like nobody else does that. There's something so
no, man.
authentic about the way he is. What did he say? That was give me some points. What
I
did he
just
say?
like the weirdness to his interviews. There is a level of realness to his promos and everything he does that I like. Um he was basically, talking about how when he first if he would have done that angle and feud with Mick Foley to start his
Hmm.
career in WWE, he would have been buried because the second they told them, okay, here's a script, in the beginning, it would have been the death for him. Because at least when he started talking about it, he was already a part of the Shield, so you
Yeah, he
couldn't
was
really do
protected.
much.
Although, if he did do it with Foley, I think there would have been a level of protection that he wouldn't have had with a. No,
No,
you don't think so? You
no,
think he would just been buried?
no. How many people have Mick Foley liked and tried to protect, and it never worked?
I mean, but Foley gets a lot of carte blanche. You look at that Orton feud. He
Justin,
that was no.
Justin,
Okay.
look at Karrion Cross and Keith Lee. What can Mick Foley do that
I'm
Triple
not
H
talking that,
can't?
but that's not. I'm talking about if they actually had.
But listen
He's
to
just
what
too
I'm
hard.
saying. The thought of any guy outside of The Rock that can actually protect them from Vince is laughable. It's
No, I'm not talking
laughable.
about protect him from Vince. I'm saying that he might have. You're talking about 2 different things. One is an actual angle
No,
that
I'm
he'd be
talking
doing with
about in
Foley.
every sense. He is saying, this is what Moxley is saying, that the second they give him a script, that he was gonna react so bad to it that it would have derailed his career.
All
That's
right,
what
that's a
he is
good
saying.
point.
And
Yeah, yeah,
nothing Foley was gonna say was gonna
yeah.
stop that.
Okay,
Because
you all right? You
remember,
brought up a great point. Yeah.
you remember like within, I don't know, 4 months of the Shield, that he was in the doghouse. Imagine
Wasn't
if he wasn't in the Shield.
was he in
That
the
doghouse
doghouse?
would have been FEW, whatever the hell it was called.
Was he? He was in the doghouse.
Yeah, he
In the
was in the doghouse when he was
mm,
United States champion and never defended it.
yeah, yeah. I do. I vaguely remember that. I
Yeah,
just remember his first interview with the
him and
Shield,
Rollins were both in the doghouse.
and they asked him a question, and he goes, "Nope." And the way he did it was so great. Nope. Like we don't care. I mean, that's what I think got them over. All right. So
He
what
was
did
the
he?
mouthpiece, and initially he looked like he was the leader.
Yeah, he did.
Initially, he was always in the center. He always cut the promos. He always started. Then they slowly moved it to Reigns.
Does he talk a little bit about? I wonder if he talks
No,
about that in
he
the
doesn't
book.
talk about the Shield at all in the interview.
Okay. What does he say about WWE in there? Because I'm sure he talked about it.
he really didn't talk that much about WWE. Most of the things
Really?
he talked about uh were either about that Foley segment, never doing another scripted promo in his life,
Yeah.
and talking about deciding to work with AEW and how the decision wasn't easy, and you know about that whole process and why he decided to work for GCW.
What did he say? Why did
Because
he?
I like doing it.
That's it. Okay. Did he talk at all a little bit about like his newfound style that he's doing, or no?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so he liked doing it, and because he wanted to feel like he's helping the independents. That was
No,
also a
no, no,
reason
no. I'm
behind
talking
it.
about his new style of
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm getting to that after
oh,
this.
okay.
Yeah, I was answering your previous question,
Okay.
and uh, as well as what what were you talking about? We'll edit this out.
I asked you, did he talk at all about John Moxley's new style that he just started doing, where he just comes in and kills people? I'm sorry, that's a banned word in WWE.
Yes.
We don't
He
say
says
kill.
that there's a design, there's a reason he's doing it now, that
Yeah,
there's a story to it. I'm not gonna, spoil
yeah,
it,
go
but
ahead.
there's a reason to what I'm doing now. And he like it's so hilarious because like you could tell he gets in the mood as he's talking about it, like, yeah, I wanna fuck that motherfucker up. Like he was
Yeah.
like, like I was
Did he
dying of
talk?
laughter.
Did he talk at all about going back to New Japan? Is he looking at that?
No, they didn't talk about that.
Okay.
It,
Did they
it was
talk about
mainly,
his?
about the book. And
Yeah,
the fact is, there's no point in talking about Japan. As long as the pandemic is going, Japan ain't happening for
yeah.
nobody in
It's a
AEW.
good point.
It is
Yeah,
what it is. If there was no pandemic, all those guys would be there already, and we know that. Like all of them would be there. Like we would
I
have
know.
the forbidden door super open. Like
Um. All right. So let's. Do you have anything else? Any other notes about the Moxley interview?
I found it interesting how he was talking about the Suzuki match and how
Hmm.
he's really good friends with Suzuki and he considers him like his best friend over there. But before they had their feud, he was talking himself up like this motherfucker, this king of pancreas motherfucker thinks I'm soft because I'm from WWE and I'm
So
gonna
he did
show
like a
that
Michael Jordan
motherfucker,
type thing,
huh?
where he's invented. So he's like he did like a Michael Jordan
Yeah,
type
he
thing, where he's
invented
like
a narrative, and he
he
also,
invented a narrative that doesn't exist.
yeah, and he talked about in the G1. He also did that where he was
Yeah.
making this narrative in his head that all
Well, it
the guys in
worked
the it
because when
does
he
work.
came out, he looked like he was pissed, and I feel
Yeah,
like that's what he needs to do. I
and the narrative is probably what a lot of people were thinking. I don't think they were thinking it. I don't think wrestlers think like that, but I definitely think fans were thinking that way. And
Hmm.
he was thinking, oh man, they think this soft as WWE guy is gonna come here and have shitty
Yeah.
matches and have soft matches. And he went in and I mean, it was great. It was really
Yeah.
great. I don't
Well,
think he's gonna do another G1 again, but I think it was
no.
great when he did it.
I look forward to seeing him destroy Orange Cassidy,
Oh yeah, that's gonna be
freshly
awesome.
squeezed.
Like, does anybody like even that? It's not just gonna be it's gonna be a squash. Like, it
It needs
has to
to
be a
be.
squash.
Needs to be. The only match that he doesn't need to have a squash with
Of
is
course,
Danielson.
of course.
And that's where. All right, so let's move. All right, so let's move on to Rampage. Anything else?
Uh, no.
All right, so let's talk about Rampage. So Danielson versus Kingston match. I like this match. I don't agree with whoever said that this was better than Minoru Suzuki or
Well,
Omega. I don't think it's in that realm.
Moxley during the interview was going insane over the match, saying that it's the greatest match he's ever seen. He thinks
Yeah.
Danielson is the greatest wrestler of all time.
Well, that's going to be great because
He
he's going to want to
admitted
go in and
that he was
he's
being biased
yeah.
because his best friend and the guy who he views as the greatest of all time were wrestling in the same match.
Oh, yeah. So
And,
that
you know
gives
what
me
he
a lot
said?
of what?
So apparently they hyped themselves up, like each other up before their matches, and
Yeah.
he went up to Kingston and Gorilla and like got on his head and like headbutted him and said, "You go fuck this vegan ass motherfucker right now."
Was that why he looked so angry? Oh
Yeah,
wow.
like it was great.
I
Like
like that. That's what I
I
want to
love
see.
that. I
That's
love
what's
that.
missing in wrestling, that seriousness of like, I take this fucking dead serious. This is
It's,
not a fucking
it's
skit I'm doing.
Yeah, it's like what Meltzer was talking
I will
about
murder you.
of what it felt when Moxley went into the ring. He was in Terry Funk mode, Stone
Yeah.
Cold mode,
And
where
that's
it
what they
looked
need to
real in
have.
the eyes. It looked real.
And you know who needs to learn that again? Is Punk. I don't feel like Punk comes out to the ring where he wants to kill somebody. He comes to the ring like, yeah, let's have a nice match.
I think he does have that, but
He does have, but I'm
he
not
showed
seeing it.
it. He showed it with Darby Allin. Like I
Yeah, but
felt his
not any.
promos before the Darby match and everything he did in that match showed that he was like in it to win it and serious. But it's hard to act like that against Daniel Garcia, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Bobby fucking Fish. It's impossible.
Escargo.
It's like, am I supposed to take Gilbert as a serious opponent?
No. I
No.
don't know. I know, but that's why I'm like,
How much you want to bet Eddie Kingston is gonna bring it out of him?
that better me. I want the angry Punk that will come out and he would be like, "Sir, you paid your ticket to boo, but let me just tell you, if you cross that rope, I will render you within an inch of your life." Like that's what he did great.
I think Eddie Kingston is one of the opponents where we were talking about, and we mentioned it, that can excite us for a Punk match. Eddie Kingston, especially because of his style. There is no way Punk is got to cut these cookie cutter promos with Eddie Kingston. You can't, because you're not going to be a baby face.
So
And
we're gonna get to that. Yeah, we're jumping ahead here.
yeah,
Because I want to talk about that interview. Let's talk. So where do you rank it? I rank it.
I think it's a
I
third
would
best.
go Omega.
It's a third
Minoru
best.
Suzuki and Omega. I go back and forth on which one is better.
It doesn't matter. It's third. It's behind those two matches.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but that's not like an insult.
No.
Those matches
do
are
you
the
think
best.
it's better? Do you think it's better than the Bucks match
Yes.
that they had? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think honestly think that's the third best match I've seen this year.
Yeah.
Because if you tell me what I think the greatest matches of this year have been, all of them have Danielson.
Yeah, well, that's why Danielson better be like, he better be in the running for Wrestler of the Year. I mean, he might not have the belt, but
no, he has to be. He has to be.
Nobody else is. One, he was in WrestleMania. He's in the best match at the Grand Slam. He's been in all the big shows.
He's literally been in all the biggest shows of the year.
He gave Reigns his best match this year.
The only guy you can say main evented a pay-per-view for the WWE title against Roman and Kenny Omega in the same year.
Yeah, I agree. I like the finish there where he continues to use, and you heard the announcers talking about it. That one thing I don't like about the match. I don't like 4 announcers just shouting the whole time. They kind of hurt my enjoyment of it.
Yeah.
No?
No, I agree with you.
You agree with? Oh, I think
I'm not a big fan of that.
I think
a little
too much.
But the match was great.
It's great, but that's what Jim Ross does really well. He knows how to take in that crowd and let the crowd be the soundtrack at times. it feels like Jericho and
He's too fucking
it's just
loud.
he just keeps going on like
He
I feel
just
like
yells. He just screams.
yeah, and
That's
I
all he
don't like it.
does.
It's annoying.
He
I
just
felt it hurt. To
screams
me,
all
that hurt the
fucking
match a
day.
little bit because I
He's
was
like
just like,
me. Like, fuck, man. Nobody
I
wants to
mean,
hear a dude screaming all day.
we had what Ricky Starks, Excalibur. Who's the other guy that's in the booth? I don't even know. Who's the third? There's four people in that booth.
Shivani, Ricky Starks,
Ricky Starks,
Taz,
Jericho,
Taz.
Excalibur, and Taz. Yeah. Why is Taz and Jericho? They serve the same purpose in some
No,
ways.
they don't. Taz knows what he's talking about. Jericho doesn't.
I just don't like the Jericho uh, thing at all. I'm gonna be honest. That hurt my enjoyment in the match. But I love that finish where he just grabs it out of nowhere, and I like that the announcers are talking about how he can finish people with different maneuvers. I like
Out of
that they're
nowhere,
actually
you
talking
can't
about that,
predict a Danielson finish. You can't.
and I
You
like
can't.
that
I love
because
that.
that's fun. I don't
Yeah.
want to predict it.
And I
You
love the
predict it, it's
finish.
boring.
It made sense.
I
I
remember being in the
Because
what was it?
this was the question. I don't think you can have a guy like Eddie Kingston just tap out as a babyface.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It was
And
perfect.
it reminds me of like when we went to go to the bar to watch pay-per-views and we watched the Elimination Chamber match with Punk and Rock, and you're like, okay, he's gonna hit the rock bottom. And I'm like, yep, and he hit the rock bottom. 1, 2, 3. That was it. I mean, it's boring. I don't want to
Yeah.
know what's gonna happen. All right, so let's move on to CM Punk and Kingston promo. I like how we didn't see him at first, and then he finally comes in. He's like, "Hey, do you want me to put you to sleep again?"
It felt real.
It did. It felt real. I like the way they framed it. They didn't have somebody standing
It's
at a
not pretty.
monitor
It doesn't look overly produced. It doesn't
yeah,
look like a soap opera or
like
something.
WWE when they have them
It's
standing in front of a TV where there's
yeah,
like no way you could ever
the
watch it.
backstage area looks too nice.
No, but
Like,
the way they're standing in front of a TV, no one stands that way. Who would stand that way? Oh God, I hate WWE.
didn't you
But
see Big
anyways,
E standing like on a
yeah,
Raw last
wasn't
week
he
or
making?
something?
But was he making fun of it? I didn't really watch Raw, so I don't even know. Like, was he making fun of it, or was that actually how they intended
World
him to
champion should have
stand?
been sarcastic.
Yeah, but that's kind of his shtick.
Whatever.
I mean, let's be honest, he's not really the world champion. It's Roman.
Who
But
knows?
anyways, I thought I liked the way they did that because it felt like a pull apart. It felt real, and I Kingston was like, he was going back into his heel mode, there,
Yeah, he has to be.
which I like, and I think this is going to bring, like we said, this is going to bring out good promos. All right, so let's go to Britt Baker versus Abaddon, the Halloween match. Take it away.
I was surprised by how good the match is. Now, I'm not saying it was like the greatest match of all time or nothing, but I think it's the greatest Halloween match of all time. I know that's not high praise, but it's a novel concept. Just have a match, right?
Yeah.
With Halloween kind of character to begin with, and just have a normal fucking match and try to have a good match. What a novel concept.
Did
And
you
the
hear
fucking
Jericho
jobbers
on
in the
the
back acting like zombies, whatever. Let the jobbers do that. Don't
exactly?
have Britt Baker do that. And it
Did you hear Jericho where he says Abaddon was on the cruise? She was like that the whole time. I'm like,
I just like that Britt felt like the only normal character in that segment, and that's what makes her a star. She didn't
yeah.
do some gimmicky crap, you know.
No, it was it
Yeah,
reminded me a little bit of it's not the same match, but it reminds me a little bit of Triple H and Cactus at Royal Rumble, where like it
that-
took everything to beat him.
well, that's what I
Beat her.
felt for the Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker match.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one as that because it wasn't like a really clean, like it was clean, but it wasn't clean,
Yeah.
like I don't think like the finish I would have preferred it better because I don't know why you're trying to protect Abaddon to begin with. You should have just had her take the lockjaw.
But that's what made Abaddon. That's what makes that match memorable. Is the fact she didn't lose to the lockjaw.
But I like when the thumbtacks leads to a finish. Like I don't like the
Yeah,
thumbtacks was just a spot in the match, and I don't like that.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, it wasn't really the.
It felt like a spot, and it should have
It
been a
does, yeah.
finish.
Yeah, but that's the problem. I think that's one of the problems Foley kind of started was like it's the thumbtacks isn't really a finish anymore. It's just a spot. Actually, no, Abyss did that. Abyss is the one that kind of
Abyss,
popularized the thing.
TNA. Come on, TNA didn't do shit.
But that's where it came from.
Nobody.
I mean,
You think people watch Abyss? Come on, bro.
at the time, they were
At the
doing
time, what? No.
they were doing decent, and every Abyss match had a thumbtack. He killed the thumbtacks because he had to bring out glass because he couldn't. He used thumbtacks every time. I'm sorry, but
I'm surprised he didn't do flaming thumbtacks.
I bet he probably wanted to do that, and they were like, Abyss, if you do that, you're not a monster anymore. You're just a job guy. But yeah, I thought they did a good job of protecting Abaddon. It gives something for them to come back to if they want to. Maybe
I will
Christmas.
just say though,
Christmas
I wish it was
match.
on Dynamite. Better crowd, more people would have watched. Same for
Yeah,
the Danielson match. I think it's a disservice when you have all these great Danielson matches on shows you're not really watching. You know?
I know. Yeah, I mean that seems to be the problem with Rampage. Do we know what the ratings are for Rampage yet? I don't think we do.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think they've come out yet. Let me see. Anything? No. I don't see anything. But I liked this Rampage. I thought this Rampage was pretty good.
I mean, most of
And
them are. It's a 1 hour show. It's really easy to watch.
yeah. It
But
reminds me of what NXT used to be.
yeah, yeah.
It has that in it, but I think they do it better because they have better workers. um yeah.
Well,
So
no,
next week.
I disagree with that. I think NXT was really good at escalating. You know, the main event was always last. Normally,
Yeah.
most of the main event matches on some of the shows were built for like a whole month. So, like, I
Yeah.
think there was a better, but that's because it was taped like a month ahead of time, so they didn't constantly change their plans. But
Well,
that's
that's
when
dead now.
NXT was good. That's when NXT was good. We're
That's
talking
dead
about,
now.
yeah, that's
Um
totally dead.
so Adam Cole versus John Silver is set for next week's AEW Rampage. Is that gonna be good? Is it
I
just an
guess.
angle for Hangman? Indifferent.
Whenever I
Wardlow.
hear
Wardlow.
Warlow,
Wardlow.
it's like the
Wardlow.
Dark Order Warlow.
The Dork
And,
Order. Yeah,
and
that's one thing. If Wyatt comes in, I would like him to just kill that faction. Like be like, you guys are all jokes. Just have them just beat all of them like down. And then he's just like he gets on the mic and is like,
well,
the Dark
see,
Order is no more.
I think Bray is one of the only people that could actually give it credibility.
I don't
Uh,
want to see him involved with that stupid group.
I'm just saying.
I,
Here's the
I know
thing,
what you're saying, but I just like
because of the connection with Brody Lee, I think the Dark Order has a value to it, and I
here's the
think
thing. If
it needs somebody serious to lead it.
if he
Hangman,
does take over the Dark Order, then they need to change their perception and
but
kick out Colt
see,
Cabana and John Silver. I don't want
but this is
comedy.
what I'm saying. They were more serious when Brody Lee was.
They still had a lot of comedy. They were still comedy on being the elite. I don't want any comedy. If he takes over the Dark Order, they're no longer comedic characters.
They have to
So
be dark.
yeah, they have to be dark. And I don't know if they want to do that. Like John Silver does not strike me as somebody who can be dark. He comes off like a goofball every time he opens his mouth or even stands there. He's just like,
But
how we're doing.
if you have
And Colt
Wyatt,
Cabana.
Maybe Wyatt can do something there. Man, Coco Cabana used to be a star. What the fuck happened to that man?
This is not it. He was a star because, he was different. Him being, a silent character is not him. I would kick
It
him
feels
out
so
and
out
I
of
would kick him.
place. For one, if you look at everybody in the Dark Order, you'd figure Colt Cabana would be the leader because he's the only one I acknowledge as an actual wrestler, or was. Is that I'm thinking of Punk
I see
and
what you're
Cabana.
saying.
Like
I
I
mean, I feel like
associate him with a certain time period of ROH. So
at this point, I feel like they should just let Anna Jay run the stupid Dark Order. Just emasculate them anymore. When she came out and said, "You guys need to work it out," I was just like, and you've killed them. They are dorks. I can't take them seriously. When you have a girl telling them that, I'm sorry, she's not this strong woman character
she's not
that they've
Charlotte
built up.
or
She's not
Ronda,
Charlotte. She's not Rhonda. She's not Tessa
Sasha.
Blanchard. She's just this curl in the background who's with Brody Lee. Brody Lee, like, that was the best she was used because they kind of complemented each other. But I don't know. The Dark Order is too much of nerds to me, and I don't want Bray Wyatt associated with nerds. I really don't. I want him to like take them, knock them out, and be like, you, we're redoing this group.
That's fine, but I think there's a value to the group. It doesn't mean that is as currently constructed, but
I don't want to see
name.
Yeah, I don't want to see Bray in purple. Like, they need to change the color
It'd be
schemes.
so cool if he just comes in with his own people and like, you know what, we're the Dark Order now. Fuck you.
Yeah, there you go. I'll accept that. You guys are jokes. There's nothing dark about you. You're the nerd order. What did Jim Cornette call him? The dork order. Yeah. I don't know. They need a serious uphaul because I don't take them seriously at all.
Yeah.
I mean, is Hangman Page going to be their leader? Is that where they're leading to? Which to me will just bury him even more than we already hate him.
I'm like, whatever.
All right. Anything else to say?
No.
All right.
If it don't make money, it don't make sense. Peace. Oh.
Thank you for watching the Kings Road podcast. You can subscribe here.
To get the latest clips and news on the show, or like us on Facebook.com/Kings Road Podcast, or email us at podcastkingsroad@gmail.com.
Also, check out our Instagram at Kings_Road_podcast and our Twitter at the KRP Podcast. Thank you. Thank you for watching the Kings Road podcast. You can subscribe here.
To get the latest clips and news on the show, or like us on Facebook.com/Kings Road Podcast, or email us at podcastkingsroad@gmail.com.
Also, check out our Instagram at Kings_Road_podcast and our Twitter at the KRP Podcast. Thank you.